Remember those long lines you'd see on the television? People lining up in all kinds of vehicles just to get a box of food in their trunk. How quickly we forget.
Welcome back, everybody. That was the president last night there in Chicago at the 40th International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers Convention, discussing the economy. But what Biden kind of forgot to mention, that people are still hurting today. As of April, the average price for a tank of gas was above $4.20. And in typical Biden fashion, of course, he highlighted the Republicans' criticism of his administration and the roles he says they play with inflation. Let's take a listen.
Under my predecessor, the great MAGA-King, the deficit increased every single year he was president.
And while Biden shifts blame to others, a CNN SSRS poll is revealing that 55% of Americans do believe it is Biden who has worsened the economy. John?
All right, Bianca, let's bring in our panel of experts now for our Thursday Money Huddle. Newsmax contributor, business and market analyst Seth Denson is with us. Also joining us now is Heather Zumaraga. She's the president of Zuma Global. Great to have you both with us again. Let's talk about this, of course. First, the MAGA-King. And also, Seth, are we still going with the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers? Is that okay?
Yeah. Well, listen, I don't know about all that, but the MAGA-King, I thought that was a little bit distasteful. But the reality is he lied. Or he didn't tell the whole truth, right? Yes, I will agree. Yes, under the Trump administration, we increased our deficit. But guess what, Mr. President? So are you. Yes, he was out there this past week saying, well, I'm reducing the deficit. No, your deficit spending is less because COVID is over, but you're still increasing the deficit. So we've spent money. Now we're spending more money, still more money than we've earned. That is increasing inflation. Between fuel prices and government spending, those are the two primary reasons for what we've got going on with inflation.
A nice pivot there, Seth. Sorry to put you on the spot, but I just had to react to the president's comments.
And Heather, was that good? Did I spin that all right?
You did great.
I'm very cautious.
You're a pro, Seth. I know Heather could have done it just as well, but we'll stick to what I think a lot of people are wondering about right now, and that's we were talking about this over text. What should we do? As we look at the market, Heather, the stock market crash was trending on Twitter today, and I was asking you both, is it a good time to reallocate our funds? Is it time to just ride it out and see what comes of the recovery? You would have to imagine the stock market is poised for a return to those heights. But this is the correction I think that a lot of people are anticipating, Heather. So what's the best play right now?
Right. Well, my best advice would be, if you haven't already sold, do not sell. Stocks historically always come back now, whether it's 2008, that took 5 years to come back to those levels. But if you look back in March of 2020 when COVID first started and all of the indices declined almost 40%, if you missed it, 2 weeks later, it was back up. And I'm not saying that we're going to have that same effect where 2 weeks later we're back at record high levels. But I am saying that this has come very fast in a short period of time. I just looked at the NASDAQ and is positive prior to coming on. And that may not be how we end the day because the indices are moving 3, 4, 5% intraday right now. And so the NASDAQ down 30% from its highs. You can look at some stocks like Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, who have great fundamentals, but those companies are being indiscriminately sold across the board just because people are fearful and they're selling. You want to sell high and buy low. So if you haven't already sold, I'm sorry, but my best advice is don't. Not yet. Not now.
There was a pretty successful investor who had basically, this was his bottom line rule, Heather, buy on the way down and sell on the way up. I think his name is Warren Buffett. Right. That worked out pretty well for him, didn't it?
Value investing. Yes, sir. That always works out.
And John, I was talking to one of your producers before we came on. I was talking to one of your producers when I told him, because of course, listen, yeah, everybody's freaking out. Here's the reality. Look at this different. What is the time horizon of your money right now? And if your time horizon is a long way off, the money you're putting in the market right now, you're getting stocks on sale. So take advantage of that. Yes, be careful about reallocation, to Heather's point. If you've already lost money and the time horizon is positive, don't sell now. Wait till it comes back. And vast majority of the time, those stocks will.
Yeah, look at the long scale. And the great thing about the internet nowadays is you can look at a timeline of your individual stock, a certain fund, the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, the Dow, whatever, and you can really see that over time. I mean, and this is another piece of advice, timeless advice. It's the time in the market, not trying to time the market. But Seth, I know you love to talk about Bitcoin. It's also on sale right now. And I got to ask you, is now a time, if you're not involved, do you maybe put a little bit of that in your portfolio right now? I mean, Bitcoin below $27,000 seems like that's a good deal too. Tempting, perhaps?
Yeah, so no, and then again, no. and here's why I say that. So Coinbase's president came out with this, Coinbase, right? Think of them like the Charles Schwab of cryptocurrencies. They came out and said effectively that their consumers have zero bankruptcy protection. Meaning, if they take all of your money, if they're going under bankruptcy, and they use it, you've got no rights to that. That's terrifying, and that should tell you everything you should know about investing in crypto right now. Avoid it.
Yeah, there's no
John.
FDIC for crypto, Heather?
Yeah, there is not. But two things have happened that I think have unwound Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. Bitcoin really leading the way higher. 50%. It's down over 50% from the high. So if you're initially going into the crypto market as a hedge against inflation, can you imagine the dollar being devalued by 50%? Well, I guess looking at our national debt and deficits, we could, but the panic that would ensue. So you've got regulation coming potentially for these stable coins and cryptos out of the SEC, and you have a Federal Reserve that is finally hiking rates, albeit at a very slow pace. And those kind of break the long-term argument for why you'd own Bitcoin in the first place. That trend is broken. I'd stay out of the way, like Seth said.
Yeah, obviously not a hedge for the inflation. And, I guys will be working for probably another 30, 40 years because I invested in Dogecoin and that didn't work out well for me. So my time horizon is very, very long. Just kidding. Just kidding. Never invested in Dogecoin. But great to see you, Seth.
We never get rid of you, John.
Take care, guys.
Thanks, John.
No, unfortunately not. All right, that's going to do it for the first hour.